Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to do the weekly Roundup premium video. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. I just put out a video with Michael Saylor just a few hours ago where we talk about Bitcoin for a couple hours. Maybe watch it at like 1.5 times the speed or something just to get through it a little bit quicker. There are some lengthy monologues where I asked him to give his views on Bitcoin in general. If you've heard him do that before, then you could just skip through it like 30 minutes or something if you just want to get to some other types of discussions. I do feel like I probably could have carried out the discussion maybe a little bit better if I had tried to bring things in and focus things a bit more. But hopefully there were some useful points in there, especially with regards to the way that institutions can buy Bitcoin, and that sort of stuff, because he gave us, some insight into that, saying, well, institutions, if they're publicly traded, it'll take them about 6 months to go from wanting to buy Bitcoin or to talking about buying Bitcoin to actually buying it. And then for privately held companies, it could take about 3 months, which I think makes a decent amount of sense. That it, as we've said before, it's not like every institution is going to be able to just FOMO into Bitcoin in 2021, but that as more and more institutions decide they want Bitcoin, it's going to take time for them to actually be able to go out and purchase that Bitcoin, because there's just going to be a lot of like regulatory hoops that they're going to have to jump through. So I do think that is sort of in line with the whole idea that the cycle will take longer than previous cycles. If in fact, as we've said, that this is the cycle for institutional investors to come in. I certainly don't think they're just all going to come in 2021 and everyone's going to sell. We're just going to wait a few years and then we're just going to come back and buy Bitcoin again. I don't think it's going to work like that. Regardless, Michael wasn't too impressed with the idea of using any type of model to talk about Bitcoin, even if it was just showing, like the yearly ROI or the 2-year ROI, which I feel like is just a physical representation of some of the statistics he was giving in terms of the APY, like the return on investment, in terms of like your yearly return on investment for Bitcoin, which was, some reason that he was giving that, to take out loans or whatever, as long as you can make the monthly payment on the loan. But regardless, hopefully the video was somewhat useful. And maybe we'll try to do more like that in the future. I mean, if you guys find those things interesting, then we can always try to have more people on, and keep chatting. So where the market is today, I mean, really not a whole lot has changed. We continue to just play in the sandbox. I think I'm going to try to spend a little bit of time here over the next few weeks also churning out some more content for like equities and precious metals, getting some of those risk metrics up and going. Because with Bitcoin sort of where it is right now, the strategy just isn't changing from one week to another. I mean, it's chopping sideways below the 20-week, right? We're sort of, again, we're playing in the sandbox down here. Nothing has really changed. I'm mainly focusing on Bitcoin accumulation. Ethereum has actually had a pretty nice move today. I mean, I do still have a decent amount of Ethereum. If you go over here and look at my Ethereum, you can see I didn't really sell that much of it, and some of this over here was also put into Ethereum. I'm not buying Ethereum right now, and that'll stay that way probably throughout the rest of the summer, at the very least. But with that said, I mean, Ethereum is putting in some decent numbers today. So I just wanted to point that out. I don't know how sustainable it will be. Like, I'm skeptical that Ethereum can put in like a new local top against Bitcoin. I'm somewhat skeptical that it could do that in the immediate future. But it does not detract from the fact that, if we go look at this on a weekly time frame, we've had and I can remove these little trend lines that I drew earlier. We have had a nice little bounce off of this, imaginary line, our imaginary uptrend channel here. We have sort of had a little bounce off of it, which is somewhat nice to see it move up a little bit. With that said, I mean, Bitcoin is still, I mean, we're not even above 35K right now, much less 40K. And anything below 41.4K is still below 0.5 risk. So remember, I'm DCAing weekly on Mondays. If we were to go below 0.4 risk, then I would double up my weekly DCA. And for us to go below 0.4, we need to be looking at a Bitcoin that's lower than $30,000, more or less. I mean, to be precise, $30,780 for us to be the below 0.4 risk or below 0.4 risk. Yeah. So we have gone below it a couple times over the last few weeks when we've dropped below 30K. So just recognize that if we are dropping below 30K, we are in fact in the 0.3 to 0.4 risk band. And I mean, you can see that basically all of these cryptocurrencies now are below 0.5 risk. If there's any specific cryptocurrency that you don't own that you're wanting to get a position in, you could always DCA into them. But for me, as someone who sold most of my Bitcoin, as you can see up here, many of them to altcoins for a while and some to stablecoins, here and some to Ethereum, as someone who sold a lot of Bitcoin, I'm mostly interested in accumulating a lot of that Bitcoin back, because in the future, whenever Bitcoin goes to six figures, I'm going to want to have a lot of Bitcoin so that I can DCA out and maybe go back into altcoins, or just call it a day on some of the profits, put them into stablecoins, start earning interest, and just relax for a little bit on it while I wait for a better time to come back into the market. But for now, it'll remain Bitcoin. Ethereum again is having a fairly impressive day, but I think we need to remember that we're still not even above our 20-week. Okay, so the 20-week for Ethereum is at 2292. We're not even above that yet, and so I think that will be an important level to watch. Can we in fact get back above the 20-week? And what more importantly, can Bitcoin get back above its 20-week? And Bitcoin's 20-week SMA is pretty high right now. I mean, it has dropped down some. It's just over $48,000. Until we're back above that, I'm going to remain very cautious on altcoins, and that's why I'm not accumulating altcoins, but I'm still keeping the altcoins that I haven't sold yet, and I'm just earning interest on them. So I think that the same strategy just carries on. For me, it's just buying Bitcoin every week. If we go down below 30K, then I would try to double up my weekly DCA. And if we go up above 0.5 risk, then I would stop buying Bitcoin, and then I would probably look to maybe buy something else. Okay, but right now, again, we're still playing in our little sandbox, more or less between 30 and 40K. As we suggested, there will not be any V-shaped recovery, and that we were likely going to spend the summer at the very least just kind of hanging out. Okay, and so far I think you can see that's been playing out. I mean, there's been a lot of moves to the upside and the downside, and people calling for new all-time highs anytime we go up. Fear, FUD coming out of every corner of the cryptoverse whenever we go down. At the end of the day, we've just been going sideways for a month and a half. So let's continue to just stay diligent with the market. I think for me, again, weekly DCAs into Bitcoin. If we go below 30K, I'm going to double up my weekly DCA to try to get my cost basis as low as possible, and my weighted risk on my portfolio as low as possible. And I'll just continue carrying out that strategy. Let me know if you guys have any comments down below. I'll try to get to those and answer any questions you guys might have. But let me know what you think. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.